unboxed here already, unpouched. Fos Scale, great kits. So what we got in the kit, got your roofing material for rolled roofing. Here looks like your roof cards. These two pieces, I'm not sure what they are yet. This is probably the back wall that you wouldn't see. That's why there's no detail or anything in it. That's looks to be a task board, I think. So these are the walls that look for the front part. There's everything else, the other walls. And then we got our doors, door frames, windows, window frames, roof trim, windowsills. And this looks like the front steps. They're right there. So there's the building on the color picture on the instructions. Not a lot to these instructions. Not a complicated building. One thing that doesn't seem to be here is that smoke jack up there on the top. And that's alright. I got extra ones from other kits and stuff. So it's really one page of instructions, and then get that over there. Diagrams and so forth. Hey! Sorry. One-handing in stuff as usual. Alright, so here's the instruction page. There's another color picture of it. So the front building is up on little legs. So the other building in the back will sit down flush. Got some signs. Couple signs there. And more signs up there. Instructions tell you what wall is what. The red is where you put your bracing on the inside. The green, see, is corner trim. That joins the two walls on the corners. And that tells you what all your part numbers are for your windows and frames and doors and stuff like that. There's kind of a picture of how the whole thing goes together. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that is. That looks like it's these right here. Okay, so that's that. First thing is always, go ahead and get these walls braced, and then the wood roughed up and stained. So I decided to go with a faded white building with a green trim, green frames and windows and stuff. So the green is a tartar green from Folk Art, and the white is something called warm white. So it's not quite a white, just a shade off of being completely white. So there we are. These are the cornices that go up around the top between the walls and the roof. So the 6 pieces, you just have to glue them together and they come out in that shape. Alright, so next up is getting these signs on and getting windows, frames, and stuff on. Well, let's get busy. Okay, getting windows and doors put in and stuff. A few signs on so far. So one thing I learned is I should drink more coffee before I do this in the morning. Because I was sitting there putting these, trying to figure out what window went to what opening, and like some of these were not fitting. This one was too big or too small, and blah blah blah. And here I had a whole bunch of windows in there I hadn't even cut out yet, and got the glass in. So an easy, quick way to do the glass take this clear acetate and just glue the window directly on it. Then you can just take an X-Acto blade and cut them out, rather than cutting each individual pane out and gluing them on separately. It's just a little easier for me. So anyhow, let me get busy here, figuring out these windows now that I got them all situated, I think. Get them glued in there and get the rest of these sides on, then we can get ready to get these walls put together. Let's see, walls are pretty much assembled. All right, this one I got to glue onto this right here. Not sure why there's even a window in there, but I guess if you wanted to make it a standalone structure and take that out, you could. Just make it a four-walled structure and use this part for other stuff if you wanted. But it's there. Anyway, so that goes on there. This little bump out could go on the back. The instructions have it on the back, which would be fine. Or it could be like right there, which is kind of cool. I might do that. Even though it's covering up a sign I just put on. Not a big deal, but it fits perfectly between the two windows. So that's an idea. Then we have this cornice stuff. Fits in these slots. Gotta wait till all the walls are on here and glued in tight before I put this in. So that goes on that side, and then there's sorry for bouncing around. There's one that goes in there, and another one down there in that slot. Then we have this plain piece of task board is shaped like a triangle. That'll get glued on top of there. That's actually just going to be the roof support, the other half. Well, am I getting blurry here? It's a matter of me. It's a matter of my camera. Yeah, blame the camera, not the operator. So, yeah, that'll go in there. That'll hold the roof up over this building, this part of the building. Then you have a little roof that goes over top of that, and then your big one there. So, what else is left? We have on here, you got these little pieces here. I didn't cut them out or paint them yet. They're for the steps that go right there. And then we have these parts, which are the windowsills. That'll go on the bottom of the windows. But I'm going to wait till the whole building is nice and glued and secured and pretty much done being messed with handily. If I put these windowsills on early, moving this thing around and doing stuff to it, and I end up knocking them off, being a clumsy me. So here's the roof cards. This one's for the big building in the back, and then the small one, then that little bump out gets this little square right here. And then we have rolled roofing here that came with it, just paper with lines on it you can cut out, glue on, paint, etc. All right, let me get cracking. Yeah, we all rubber banded together, just help hold everything together. We can get those cornices put in. Boy, they're a tight fit. You almost have to jam them in there. But they go in fine without breaking anything. Just a little bit of force and they go in. I have this part to go on. We'll glue that in, but first, before we do that, I gotta straighten out this roof. See if you can, I don't know if you can tell too much, but it's a little bowed right here. So I'm gonna straighten this out. I didn't notice that right away, which I should have. It must have been one of those mornings with not enough coffee. One way to have straightened it, if I would have noticed that it was warping a bit, even with the bracing on there and down on either side, it still warped a bit. Sometimes these peaked roofs like that will do that. I simply would have had to just stain the inside, outside and inside, put it under weights, let it sit for a day, and it would have been straightened out, but I didn't. It's a tiny bit bowed up here on this end. So what we're going to do is take this piece of strip wood that I have on my scrap box Gonna cut it to the length of the building and glue it in at the peaks. It's hard to show you in one hand, but we'll be gluing it in there. It'll also help as a roof support, which is cool. So sometimes I'll put one of these in like that, even if the roof peaks are not bent or warped at all, just to help hold the roof up good. So meanwhile, this is all drying. I'm not going to mess with that until this is dried. And we'll go have lunch and come back, and we should probably can take the rubber bands off and go ahead and get cracking on the rest. All right, I'll put the wraps on this now, I guess. All right, like I said in the beginning, there was no smoke jack with the kit, so I added one that I found in my scrap box. We got the rolled roofing on, put some patchwork on it, some weathering on it. Added a light above the front door. That's out of the scrap box, not part of the kit. And when you have a mailbox with two broken off legs, you throw cinder blocks underneath them. Now these little accessories here, I'm not sure if they'll be part of the kit or not. I just grabbed them out of the box. I have a whole box full of detail parts right there. See, all kinds of stuff. And more stuff. So, just set them there just for the effect. My dude fell over. He got tired of standing. Get a little blurry again on you. Alright, so there's the front. Here's the steps. Kind of a little finicky to put together. In fact, I put a different board on the front step because I couldn't find the board that came with the kit. And then after I got the step on it, I found that the board was glued to the bottom of the kit somehow, by accident. And the bump out, like I said, I put between the two windows. Back door added that little electrical box right there. And yeah, that's about it. So it was fun kit. Always will definitely recommend Fos Scale Models. So here's that board right there. So I always recommend their kits. They're not difficult. They can be a little finicky here and there. There we got our milk jug, silver milk jug. All right, it's back up here. You know, there's the drone view. We'll just stick it on the layout and see where we want to put this thing. All right, there's that. I like to kind of mix up my colors. So here I have two buildings with a lot of yellow in them. So if we take, let's say, yeah, move that. Let's sit that further down. And maybe that right there is a little better. So anyway, the road will come down here. There's going to have to be a turnaround area here. And then go on back out. So I might want to angle these buildings a little different in here. Put them on a cockeye. Maybe move that sideways instead of like that, just for interest. You know, so whatever. I'll be playing around with it. And definitely like to have buildings in an old town going cockeyes and sideways in different ways, and roads not linear and things like that. So I'll be playing around with this. I guess I'm going to get cracking more on the scenery here. Maybe figure out where the road situation will be. But that is probably, I could probably squeeze in another building or two in there, but that actually might be enough. So Sometimes less is more. So, all right, folks. Well, that's that. I appreciate you coming around and checking out this build again. Checking out this video, the latest one. We'll have another one here. I got to do scenery work. And I got that water tower I got to do for the area behind me. So, okay, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much again. Appreciate everything. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the like button too. Leave me comments, suggestions, critiques. That kind of stuff. I do appreciate it. All right, folks. Y'all have a good one. See you next time.